Hi, good evening. My name is Gladys, and I'm a financial planner, and I'm also a pastor. And this evening, I've been quite active on Instagram. I'm sure some of you see my posts and other things like that. And so I've decided not only to be active on Instagram, but also to be active on Facebook. On Facebook, it's just my post and I think a video or so that I've put up. I'm sure some of us have seen quite a number of my posts, and then also some of us have seen me preach. Anyway, I'm not here to preach this evening, but I would definitely start off from the perspective of, what God is doing and what is happening during this time. The topic or the conversation or the chat we're going to have this evening is financial planning and the current situation we're in, the pandemic. That's what we're going to be looking at. So earlier this year, towards the very end of last year, I remember being very happy and, excited that a new year was coming up and all that. And I remember the Holy Spirit telling me, it's not a new year, it's a new decade. Think long term, think deep. And God led me to discover that we were actually stepping in to the fourth industrial revolution. We're in the fourth month of 2020, and we are actually in the fourth industrial revolution. We've had 3 industrial revolutions. We've had the first, we've had the second, we've had the third, or we were in the third. And for those of us in the developing countries, we had barely gotten used to the third industrial revolution. And here we are, all of a sudden just colliding into the fourth industrial revolution. So what is this? What is the fourth industrial revolution all about? What is it all about, really? The fourth industrial revolution is characterized by a fusion of technologies. You find out that the fourth industrial revolution is dealing with the physical, digital, biological, and the spiritual. And the fourth industrial revolution has shaken virtually every sphere of life. And the thing with this revolution is that it has had major impact on performance, on business, and also on governance. And we don't have to look too far away. The current situation that the whole world is in, the pandemic and everything that concerns it, just clearly shows and is clearly bringing to light the fact that yes, we are truly in the fourth industrial revolution. The digital world has exploded beyond imagination. The biological world also is heavily impacted. These two worlds are heavily impacting on the physical world, and I tell you the truth that the spiritual world also has a part to play. Now, I'm not going to go deep into all of that. I'm going to divert and talk about the main thing why I'm having this chat. Before I continue, you can feel free to put up your comments or to ask your questions. I will try my possible best to attend to all of that. So, talking about financial planning and what we have currently today. First and foremost, what is financial planning? Financial planning is just simply using resources that we have today, you understand, to achieve a desired goal or future result. That's what it is, simply put. And a plan, definitely, if you want to summarize it, is just simply a systematic way of doing things, or simply putting things in order, step by step. So that's what it's really all about. So for us financial planners, this is very interesting times, and we're actually watching, and we're quite intrigued with what is going on. And for us as individuals, as human beings, what do we really do? Today somebody was telling me, she was quite excited, and she said, oh, my company paid money, they paid my salary. And I told her, thank God that your company could pay your salary. We've been at home for a full month technically, and the honest truth is a lot of companies and a lot of businesses have not had any income whatsoever. There are some who are, booming. There are some that are smiling to the bank, but there are some that haven't had any major businesses done since the beginning of this year. And if you have a salary or you've received a salary, I'm very happy for you, and thank God. Hello, Pastor Namdi, and thank God that you have a salary. And for those who are yet to receive, I believe that you would get a salary. But there are a lot of things that come to play during this period, and a lot of things are going to come out and are going to show itself. And the thing is, we need to be ready. Now, for financial planning, we look at some critical areas. And for this period, one of the first areas that we're going to look at is your current financial position. Bottom line, your cash flow. What is your cash flow like? This is the time that this habit of saving will come to play. Saving in the sense that this is the time for us to set up our emergency funds. This is the time where we're able to see, okay, where am I not spending money now? And then we channel that and save it up, you understand, into a fund. Is very important. A typical example, school fees. My sister is with me, and she was on the PTA for her daughter's school, and part of the discussion was school fees. And the thing is, the proprietress of the school was saying, okay, we want parents to just pay for the online classes that the children are going to have. They're not in school physically, so other activities, say like excursion and other things, are not going to come, to play during this period. And that is a very good opportunity where you're paying not the full amount for school fees, but you're paying, a fraction of it. So that money that you have that you can save off can immediately go into an emergency fund. I just want to stop and say hello to Mr. Kayode Adebayo. Thank you for joining. And also Mr. Abayomi Aderiye, my big brothers. Thank you for joining. I'm really excited. And, funds actually now should be judiciously used. It's not that I'm saying we're careless, but there are some things that I believe and I know we can cut down on. This is the time for us to cut down on it, because the honest truth is, let's be honest, it's a 50-50 chance that we're going to get out of this soon. There's a likelihood that the government can wake up and say, you know what, we're extending it for the next 2 weeks again, and we're already looking at May. You understand? And I recall speaking to somebody about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the person was saying, I can't wait for this lockdown to come to an end, and let's just get back to. And I told him, guy, just chill, relax, because for some of us, we may not see this opportunity in a very, 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 very long time, and some of us may never have this opportunity of having rest at a stretch just like this. So it's imperative that we're able to plan the time. It's a time for us to, review where we currently are, where we want to be, and just, reflect and plan so that you're ready when the doors are finally open. Hello, my big brother again, Yinka Adeniji. So nice to have you. And so now is the best time for your current financial position. This is the best time to actually set up your emergency fund. When we're talking of emergency fund, look at it, think about it. How much can you save up that can take you through a period of, say, 3 months? God forbid, or, we're still home till like July. Anything could happen. But how long, the money you have, are you sure it can take you till then? How well have you been able to budget, or can you budget on what you have? It's very, very important that we look into things like that. Hello, Edna. So nice to have you. Captain Tony is so nice to have you. I'm really excited that you guys are online. And so, I'm sorry, I just saw a message that, took me off guard. Don't worry, I'm going to concentrate now. So now, we have to have that emergency fund, because what this pandemic is teaching us is that we need to always be prepared for the rainy day. The honest truth is that we may never really get back to things normally in the short run. This adjustment, there are going to be a lot of adjustments from what we can see economically and also, socially. And so we need to prepare for that. Right now, we just need to make sure that whatever we have, we're able to keep it. We're able to, make sure it stretches so it goes a long way. Hello, Tosan, Nike, Miriam, so nice to have you on board. It's quite exciting. And so, step number 1, your current financial position. Apart from that, assessing your current your current financial position, I would also like to ask us, how many of us, now that all of a sudden COVID-19 or the corona pandemic has just thrown the whole world off course and has just thrown us into a virtual economy, what that means is that your bank SMS alerts, your statements online, they all are very important right now. You can't walk into, it's not very easy walking into the bank. Like my sister was complaining today, she spent over 3 hours trying to get in to the bank to do a transfer for a business dealing, and I had to ask her, babe, don't you have an app? And she said, oh, that she actually didn't think about it, you understand, and all that. And I told her, where you are, they will tell you enter the bank 2222. Forget that you're sitting under the canopy. You're wasting time. You've been there 3 hours, and you're just waiting to get into the bank to do a transfer, which you can do on your phone. And I told her, download the app and look for somebody. You find that in some banks, even the security man can teach you how to use the app. So just ask somebody to help you to, get the app up and running, do your transfer and go home and attend to other things. And she was like, yes, that is true. So what does that tell us? We're in a different era, we're in a different world. Your debit card's very important. Your bank statement, your SMS alert, your transfers, all of them are important, because these are records that will show you your in and out, your inflows and your outflows. For me, I don't delete bank SMS messages. And then I also have them on email. So the day maybe my phone crashes or something, I just go back to my email and I'm able to pull out, information. And I wouldn't lie to you, I am enjoying doing transfers. I don't have cash. I can't go and queue up at an ATM. Yes, I might be that lazy, it's okay. But everywhere I go now, do you accept cash? Okay, yes. I transfer to you, we're good and we're good to go. So you find that those are the things you need to safeguard and you need to look at. You need to check your spending. You need to understand your current financial position so that you're not caught off guard. Because right now, anything can happen. We're hearing that state governors are talking about having a 2-week lockdown, interstate borders and things like that. We don't know what that means. We're still listening to see what will happen. But there's a likelihood that it would have an impact on food and other things. But hey, we believe God that everything is going to work out in our favor. Thank you, Sister Obioma, for joining. Imelda, so good to have you. God bless you. So the next thing we talk about in financial planning is investment planning. Now, investment planning basically is the steps or the methods in which you invest your money. First and foremost, you use the medium of the bank. I will break it down into 2 legs. I'll talk about, what you can do with the bank and what you can do with other financial institutions in addition to the bank. Now, your savings account is for savings, as it's called, savings account. You get some interest paid on it. And basically your current account is your checking account. And some of us have checks, checkbooks. I won't lie, I haven't used a checkbook in a very long time. Some of us use our checks and things like that. Now, to add to what you have, say you're able to save up quite enough, and example, the emergency funds we're talking about, you can actually invest these monies. There are various vehicles of investment. But I would like to add that before you invest, please make sure you have surplus to do that. Make sure you have enough cash. Like the saying goes, cash is king in this time. Make sure you have enough cash to sustain you. If you do have a surplus, if you're able to check through your finances and you're able to see areas where you can, glean money, get money from. When I say glean, I really mean glean as in like, oh yes, I can just harvest this in and put it in. Some of us we're still getting payments on dividends and some other things like that. It's a good opportunity to actually, invest it. Some of us are getting interest paid on our fixed deposits and mutual funds and things like that. Instead of spending that, if you have been able to set up your emergency fund, you can reinvest that. But I advise during this period, during this time, do emergency fund. That is number one priority before you invest. The honest truth is that this era would pass and you will still have the opportunity to make investments for a long term. And so for investments, like I said, there are various forms and platforms for investment. You have your fixed deposits, which is in the bank. You also have what they call the banker's acceptance. You have what they call the commercial paper. You have the federal government bonds, which is very good for those of us that want to lock up money for a very long time. It's one of the vehicles you could use. You can use the treasury bill. You can use the mutual funds also. You can use the fixed income. There's so many of them. And apart from banks, you have financial houses or institutions that also can assist you with your various investment forms. Yes, Captain Tony, before you invest, make sure you have enough cash to sustain you. Yes, that's rule number one. So I just want to say hello to Ejiro. How are you? Thank you for joining in. And so the honest truth is, like right now, if you look into the economy, treasury bills are not as attractive as it used to be, and so there are various other forms. You can talk to your financial planner. Hi, hey, there's one here. Or you can talk to your bankers. They can always, or you can talk to your investment officers or investment bankers. They can advise you accordingly what to do and what how you can invest. Look out before you invest. Look out for where you can get a good return on your investments. Just look out for it. Do shopping. Do a bit of window shopping before you zero in. Why? Because this time and every other time, you need to preserve your capital. You need to be sure that whatever investment you're going into, you really understand it before you get into it. Because we've had instances where people will say, oh, you didn't tell me I will have to pay like 25% on withholding tax, and a fixed deposit, the person is upset that he has to pay tax on his interest on a fixed deposit. Or somebody comes to tell you that you didn't tell me that to have a mutual fund, I have to have a 30-day holding period before I can draw out of it. If not, I'll be taxed. So please ask detailed questions, ask deep questions to be sure that you put in an investment or you set up your investment, at any point in time. Be it now, during this period, if you have excess, or after this period. This is a good time to begin to ask questions. Information abounds so much nowadays. You can call into some banks or institutions and they can talk to you on how to go about your investments. Hello, Charles. So nice to have you. Ooh, Madam Stella, nice to have you on board. Yes, so talking about financial planning, I've talked about one, your current financial position. That is where you feel your pulse. If you can't feel the pulse, you're not sure, just go to the hospital. The hospital is talking to your financial planner, like Gladys, and then we'll feel your pulse, we'll check your temperature, is everything okay concerning your money, and all that. If it's not okay, what do we recommend? Is this a situation where we have to put Panadol? Is it an injury that we have to put plaster? Is this something that we have to do some surgical, intervention to make sure that you're okay? It's an interesting process, and what I plan on doing is to set up a Zoom class, hopefully towards the second week of May. Hopefully set up a Zoom class where we can do some practical things. using Excel, setting up, I've talked about it, setting up a tracker where you can see how your spending is going on a day-to-day basis or on a monthly basis. And then also we ask ourselves some certain questions, checking out our current financial position and all that. So the next thing we're going to talk about as regards financial planning and you and this period is risk planning. I call it risk management. The honest truth is that every waking hour, even when you're sleeping, we're faced with, risk. It's everywhere. It comes in various forms, different ways. A lot of us know about, or we're conscious of the fact that, yes, I need to insure my car. But the honest truth is, at this point in time, in 2020, April 24th, today, with the story around the world, are we really ready for risk? It's an important question you need to ask. Actually, you find out that the pandemic was so serious. Hello, Yinka. Love you. I'm so happy you're here. This is another Yinka, my sister Yinka. God bless you. It's so important that you're sure that you are able, or you have the things to mitigate or to minimize the impact of risk. This is where insurance is coming in. Now, as I was saying before I said hi to Yinka, the sporting world came to a halt. Tournaments, even the Olympics. I felt so sorry for Japan. The loss of not hosting it this year, the figure, some $6 billion. I'm like, hey, the last time Japan, if I'm correct, the last time Japan wanted to host the Olympics, that was Second World War. They couldn't host it. Now another one, this one is coronavirus. It's like, if you were listening to the news, you find out that they struggled a bit postponing it, but they still insist, if we're going to do it 2021, no problem, but it will still be called Japan 2020. That's to show you the impact, you understand, of the loss. Now, for those of us that are interested in tennis, they did something amazing. The Well-Building, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, team or the Well-Building Association has been paying insurance for pandemic. I don't know where they got it from, but they had actually been paying insurance over in a period of time, a number of years. And guess what? This is the time they're going to cash in to that insurance. Big money, call it Ben, is going to hit them. Huge amounts. And you find out that is a very good way for them to cover up the losses that they have incurred for not hosting any tournament. And also they can use this money to do many other things. That is what an insurance can help you do. If you remember in those days, I remember when they used to talk about Nikon insurance and then they would hold, do you see the umbrella? Yes, it's really an umbrella. Right now, looking at what is happening as regards health and everything, do we have health insurance? Ask your insurance companies, can they do health insurance for you? Do you have health insurance? Is it there? For those of us that are in businesses, some of us have high-risk business. Is it properly insured? Right now, looking at the way things are, some of us have not been able to go out, because our businesses are structured in such a way that we need to be out there. Have we insured ourselves? What is going to protect us at this point in time? Like my brother was sharing with me a few days ago concerning Primark. I'm sure if you go to England, you would hear a lot about Primark, and they're also in America and some other places in Europe. And my brother was telling me that Primark has not sold anything, nothing, because their own business is 100% brick and mortar, and so they don't have any online presence. Apparently they're on Instagram, they post what they have, but they're not selling, unlike other Topshop and other businesses, Nine West and all the other ones like that are in Europe or in London. And my question is, they have 38,000 staff cutting across England, other parts of Europe, and America. And I'm like, how are they going to pay their staff? Are they going to lay them off? And I didn't, reading through the article, I didn't see anything like we're going to lay off or something. Instead, they're talking about consumers should just wait, that there's going to be mega sales once this pandemic is up, that there are going to be mega sales, and that in fact, that they have about 1.5 million pounds worth of unsold goods. And right now, we're gradually getting into, getting out of winter, getting into the spring, into summer. So it's like, yeah, consumers are waiting. I strongly believe they have insurance to cover up this loss. I really don't know how they're doing it. But this is a wake-up call that we need to change the pattern of our business. And we also need to make sure we are adequately secured in the face of loss. Hello, Deji. So nice to have you on board in the face of loss. And I also want to say, speaking from looking at the Wimbledon experience, insurance is not, I tell my clients, insurance is not an investment vehicle, because I've seen quite a number of people who come and tell me, I put money in insurance and I did not see anything. They didn't pay me anything. This one. Yes, they will hold your money for you there. But the thing is that concerning insurance, you have A and you have B. And something B has to happen for you to get C. That is it. The insurance people will not tell you that, maybe the cover of your insurance or your life insurance policy is 10 naira, and if in the event, because if you read your insurance policy, they'll tell you in the event of this, in the event of that, blah 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 blah, your cover, the amount is due is X, Y, and Z. During the Zoom class, I will pull up an insurance policy, so we look at it and then we can read the contents. Even with your vehicle, you can read the contents. The thing is, like for your car, if you do not have an accident, i.e., maybe you jam somebody or somebody jam you or something like that, the insurance people will not come. You cannot draw on that. Because the money that you've been saving up, the premiums you've been paying, is to cover up for this loss. So I tell people, do not assume that your insurance is your vehicle for investment, because you find that the money sits there, it's in holding. You don't really get interest. But you find out that to make people more comfortable, you have some insurance products that tell you they have two pockets. I know of one which I use. It has two pockets. You have the savings side where you can take money out of it, and you have the other side where, like that. It is called a two pocket. And they have various other forms of hybrid insurance and other things like that. Talk to your insurance broker. Speak to them. Those that insure your car, those that insure your house, talk to them. That is general insurance. They can talk to you about life insurance. They can talk to you about health insurance. Talk to them and they will tell you, all about it. If you don't know anybody, you can talk to me, because I can also talk about insurance and I also can help to sell. I work with a few insurance companies that I can also, make recommendations to you for. So that's it as regards insurance. So have your insurance, because if you have a mortgage, I know that towards the end of the year, when the taxation and other things, especially if you're working, you get some income. That is good money that you can put into your emergency fund. So that's it for that. Now, I also like to say that please do not stop paying your premiums. Try as much as possible to pay your premiums. Don't stop and say, now money no day. Try and pay your premiums, because there will come a day that you just might need it. And if premiums are not paid, it also has a negative effect on you. Now, another thing that I want to talk about and that we look at in financial planning is tax planning. And early this year, just before the somersault of the whole world, the economy and everything, the Nigerian government was coming very, very, very strong as regards taxation. 2019, we were seeing, and prior to then, we're seeing, it coming strong on businesses, companies, and things like that. But the government was beginning to turn its attention to individuals. And if I remember correctly, it was getting to a point where to hold a current account, you must show your tax payment. Yes. And I won't lie to you, I haven't really sat down with tax consultants to really understand what that was all about, and this is a very good time for me to look at that. Why am I saying that? Now, look at the Nigerian economy. I don't want to sound like a prophet of doom, I don't want to sound negative, but there is like an elephant, I won't say in the room, in the country. What's happening? Our economy or our budget is fixed on only oil. And as we speak today, oil is like lowest of low. In the last 18 years, it has gone so low, you know, and that already has a huge impact for those of us. Quite everybody now, I know the question is, what are doing against dollar? What is it doing against pounds? Not very nice. Not very nice at all. And if we can't see where to sell our oil, I don't know. That's all I can say. I don't know. Because even Brent crude, which is the benchmark for our Bonny Light and our Akwa Ibom, is not doing well at all. So our Bonny Light is getting a whipping. It's getting a serious whooping right now. And so tax is one of the way governments raise revenue. We're all in Lagos State. We know what it is in Lagos State. And Lagos State is usually the first place that they start from. And so taxation is going to be something that is going to come up strong. I may be wrong, but I can sense it. It's really going to come up strong, you know, after this period, to cushion the effect or the negative portions of our budgets, you know, based on what we have in Nigeria. So, hello Moji, nice to have you. So the thing is, they already laid down guidelines as regards that, and if you do have a tax consultant as a friend, I recommend strongly that you discuss with them so you can plan ahead as regards taxation. Is really, 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 really important now. It is an area that we should not overlook. It is an area that we should really pay attention to, because we don't want to be taken by storm. I think one lesson I have learned concerning the coronavirus is just shine your eye. Anything can pop up, anything can come up. Policies can change. Like I said in the beginning, we're actually in the 4th industrial revolution, and it's had major transformating, you know, impact on business, on government, on production, on the way we live life. So anything can really come up at this time. So you need to be prepared for it. And I will say, I've learned to look on the bright side. Yes, initially it's like, oh my goodness, at a point, this thing is too much, this thing is too much, this thing is too much. But you find out that in situations like this, it actually makes you stronger. And the pandemic and everything that is happening right now is going to do two things. It's either it pushes you up or it pushes you down. So you need to decide, where am I going to fall on, you know, along the spectrum. Hello, Gochiana, such a nice pleasure to have you online. So that's that concerning taxation. Another thing I want to talk about, I believe I'm speaking to an audience that is in their probably late 20s, 30s, late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, and early 50s. And so for some of us, retirement, I'm talking about retirement planning. Retirement is a bit far off. For some of us, retirement is like the next 10 years. For some of us, retirement is like the next 5 years. Some of us, retirement is when we're tired and we can't run our businesses again, and then our kids have grown up and they can inherit it, and then we can just relax. But the honest truth is, this is the time where you begin to plan for retirement. Begin to sit down and ask yourself certain questions. How do you want to live when, say, you've worked for like some 20, 25, 30, 40, 45 years, and then you have to retire? In Nigeria, you know that in most places, once you're 60, it's retirement age. how do you really want to live? Under retirement planning, you look at certain things, i.e., it is the twilight of our life that some of us, medical bills increase. Some of us want to continue to afford the luxuries that we can afford. Some of us even want more. I know of somebody who is enjoying retirement. In fact, she's having a ball. When she wakes up every morning, it's like, okay, where's the next place we're going to? She's just having a ball. There's some of us that really want to live that life. We don't want to think about anything again. We just want to relax, and we have our money, and and everything is going well. We want to travel. We just want to pay for our tickets. We travel with our loved ones, travel with our spouses, and we're good to go. So the thing is, have your time horizon. It's never too early to plan for retirement. In fact, if I'm correct, I think is it Japan or so, there's a particular country, as you get your first job, as you are starting work, they ask you, when do you want to leave? Yes, it's that serious. Because you find out that just like a product, we human beings also, we have a life cycle. And we are at various stages of this life cycle. Some of us are just getting out of school. Some of us are holding our first job. Some of us are planning to get married, or we just got married. Some of us have children who are just getting into school. Some of us have kids that have graduated. You're just at a particular point of the human life cycle. And part of the things you think about or you have to look into is, when are you going to wind down? The honest truth is that for those of us doing 9 to 5, you'll get to a point where you will say, in fact, I'm done, I'm tired, I know they do again. For some of us have to retire, or we have to let go of it because of health reasons. So you need to have at the back of your mind that eventuality, as in play the scenario, the what if scenario. What if scenario? When do you plan on stopping work? When do you plan on retiring? God forbid, we've talked about risk planning, risk management. Anything could happen that can take you out of work. You need to plan for that. Do you have the money to pay the bills? Do you have the money to sustain you? Do you have the money to ask for get the help that you need and all that? Now also, you need to also check your current position. We started off with checking our current financial position. This is something, is as if going for a medical checkup. You go to it time and time again to check, to be sure that yes, I'm still on course. Yes, this is in place. Oh yes, I can add this. It's just like having vitamins, taking vitamins. Like, okay, I can take calcium, I want to take vitamin E. For those of us that are women, oh, your skin, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's the same way you do as regards, talking about retirement. You need to also, like I've said before, how do you want to live? We've had too many sad stories of people who have worked so hard, people who have given so much, and at the end of the day, there's nothing for them. Even the pension, they're not seeing it. There are too many stories around us concerning that, and I don't think any of us will want to live like that. So it's important we look at retirement. It's important we plan for it properly. Sometimes it's forced on us. Sometimes, we just go, we're ready and we go into it. But there must be a proper plan. And so financial planners will always tell you that financial planning is a journey. It's not a one-day thing. It's something that you embark. It's a lifelong journey. Because on the cycle, the human life cycle, you find yourself at various stages. You find yourself, when you have children going to school, that is the time for your educational plan. I didn't want to zero on that, but it's important. I'm going to talk about it now. Your educational plan for your children, very critical. I always bring to the attention of my clients, and I tell them something, that really paying school fees is open. Just create a 20-year window. Yes, 20 years. Because kids nowadays go to school very early. The creche that the child is going to, you pay for it. After creche, they migrate to playgroup. You pay for it. After playgroup, they enter nursery, you pay for it. After nursery, they enter primary, 6 years, you pay for it. I'm already calculating. Creche is as early as 3 months. On and on. Primary school, you pay for it. Secondary, another 6 years, you pay for it. University, another 4 years. That is how many years now? 18 years. The other 2 years covers for the playgroup and the creche. That is your 20 years. And so there also has to be planning concerning that. And it has to be proper planning, because we all have goals and aspirations for our children. And there's nothing as painful as not, giving your child the kind of education that you want to give your child. And so that planning is continuous. And sometimes I throw in that it's not just till they go to university. When they go for NYSC, you have to check. Sometimes you also have to, after university, you now have the masters coming up and all that. So give and take is not even 20. Let's just say some 25 years of paying school fees, of making sure education is taken care of. And that's a lot of work. And I say kudos to every parent out there. Every parent should be celebrated. Some of the things that I would say drove me was when I remember, maybe I think getting to university, and I remember that sometimes my father would call his stockbroker, sell how many units of ExxonMobil, I need to pay fees, and all that. Some of our parents did that. They were buying stock in those days. That is where your investment planning come in. They were buying stock in those days, and they would sell off the stock to raise money to pay school fees. My father had a lot of blue chips, Mobil, Nestle. He had a lot of it. And when it was rainy day for him, or when the rain was falling for him, he would sell, and we all went to school. He made sure of that. There was no child that was not educated. And so I celebrate every parent. You are doing very well. Continue. God will continue to sustain you and bless you. And our prayers is that our children will recognize what we're doing for them, and they will honor and celebrate us also. My dear Olive, thank you for joining in. And they will celebrate us also. So, sorry, I'm going to go back to investment planning. I realized I didn't talk about stockbroking. Yes, the capital market. That is also a good way, to plan for your investments. It's a good form of planning, or it's a good thing to embark on. And if you are able to take the risk, if you're risk tolerant, go ahead. For some people, it's like, no. Once the stocks drop, it's like, hey, oh, for some people, they know how to wait it out. For every investment, please ask questions. Find out, why do you want to invest in GT Bank? Why do you want to invest in Nestle? Why do you want to invest in Unilever? Why do you want to invest in Okumu Oil? Whatever it is, do your homework. Talk to your stockbroker. Try to understand what these companies do, and all that is very important. I remember in 2008 when there was the bubble, the capital market bubble, when it burst. Just before then, I remember telling some people that I'm going to sell off all the stocks that I have, and people thought I was crazy. I sold off everything, and I left only 2 companies. And I left those 2 companies because I had seen their past historical performance, and I could interpret the trend, of what is going to happen. Not all of us can do that, so that's why you need the experts to help you. And we financial planners, we work with the various experts in various sectors. If you want me to hook you up with a good capital market broker, give me a call or send me a message. I can do that. But the thing is, before you go in, know your risk appetites. Check your pulse. Money has to eat your. Sometimes you think about when your pulse will be rating, picking. Check your pulse before you get in. It's very important. Ask the relevant questions. See what has happened, so it gives you an opportunity to see what lies ahead. And the question is, why are you buying stock? If you can answer that question, it's not that everybody's buying stock. This is the latest, let's jump into it. No. Why are you getting into the capital market? Same way, why do you want to do a fixed deposit? What is there? Why do you want to do it? Always ask yourself the why. Always answer the why as regards investment. Always answer the why. Once you can answer the why, you find out that you've taken care of a bit of the risk that you're exposed to. Always answer the why. So if you want to buy stocks, you want to get into capital market, this is the perfect time to do that. Perfect time. Why? Because the stock market is what we call bearish. Is low. All is low. Facts. So now you can buy low. If you want to hold, you can hold. If you want to sell when things, that means you need to study, follow the trend, buy the stock. Okay, what is Zenith doing today? What is UBA doing today? What is Ashaka Cement doing today? Talk to your stockbrokers. Let them send you the daily reports, the monthly reports, the quarterly reports. All those things are important. You see, this fourth industrial revolution, it has pushed us to. We must ask questions. We must read. We must be. We must know, because everything is at the touch of a button. Everything is just there. So we need to, it's right in front of us, but you need to just settle that and say, what do I want to know? Where am I going to? How am I plugging in? So now I've talked about retirement planning. Hello, Ifeoluwa Erijesu. Nice to have you on board. I'm going to now look at or talk about the last thing, but not the least, and it's estate planning. Estate planning, that is, I call it housekeeping. That is where we talk about writing our will, setting up trusts, and also setting up foundation, mostly for, philanthropic purposes. So, housekeeping, estate planning is very simple. It just allows you to tell the whole world where you want your estate to be, how you want it to be, or how you want it to go. When we say estates, we're not talking about property in this case. Your estate actually talks of the totality of everything you own, including your name, your goodwill, everything. My glasses is part of my estate. The dress that I'm wearing is part of my estate. My earring is part of my estate. My wristwatch, part of my estate. Everything you own in totality makes up your estate. And the honest truth, this is the time where the matters of life and death are so close to us. Honestly. I recall when this lockdown started and my sister was sharing with me that there was somebody who was so scared of going outside. She felt if she had just stepped outside her door that the virus would climb on her and she would die. It was real fear. And people had to start talking to her and encouraging her. She needed to buy gas Saturday morning, and it was like, how am I going to do it? People are that, yes, the fear is real. Truth is, pandemic or no pandemic, there comes a time where we go for a meeting and we don't come back. Let me put it that way. I'm not here to scare you. And for us in Nigeria, it's like, I beg, don't even talk. Hey, are you wishing me? No. We're just trying to tell us that we need to put our house in order. While you're alive is even better. Write the will. Write it. As far as you're 18, you have a sound mind, you can write your will. Your will tell the government and everybody concerned how you want things that belong to you distributed, or where you want it to be. That is just it. Because if you die interstate, that is dying without a will, there are many things that can happen. The government is there waiting for you to hit whatever it is you have with some good fees. Apart from that, the last thing you want to do is see your loved ones suffer while you're there, and then you're not there and they're still charging you. You can imagine that is painful. It is unnecessary. Having worked so hard, put it together. I met somebody and I was actually impressed, and she told me, she said, you know what, I wrote my will when I was 25, and I looked at her and I'm like, a woman, Nigerian, she wrote her will, said 25, that she learned from what her mother went through when her father passed away, and she swore to herself that she would make sure her children don't go through that. And she said she wrote her will when she was 25. I think now she's in her very late 40s, almost 50 or early 50s, and she says that every year she goes to renew her will. She goes to see, look at it. If there's something she needs to add, she will add, and if there's something she needs to take out, she will take out. And so writing your will right now is not expensive. I work with one of the trust and trust businesses in Nigeria, and we can help you write your will with as low as less than 100k. You can write your will. Yes, write it, put it in place. We're not saying anything will happen, but it just actually gives you peace. It gives you rest, that you know that come what may, I'm sure that nobody will wake up and violate what is written there. It can be contested. My children are secure, my assets are secure. I know everything that I want is in the right place. We've heard of stories where people are fighting about somebody's clothes, the wristwatch, and some very astonishing things. And even in this country, we've seen where a patriarch, while he was alive, the business empire, and then he's no longer here, and all of a sudden you don't hear anything about it. We can mention names. That is not our portion. That is not what we want. That is not, no, it's not for us. So let's consider that even at this time. This is a good time. I was talking to somebody who had started writing his will, and it took a long time for him to really get around. He made his payments and everything, but it took a while for him to get around to doing it. And so today we're chatting, and I asked him, how far have you gone, filling out writing out everything? And he said, I had to go and look for some documents. I said, yes, it would entail you looking for some documents, because while you're writing your will, that's when you remember. That's why I said it's housekeeping. I remember I bought shares. Hello, Pastor Peter, so good to have you. I bought shares. So years. I don't even know where the certificate is. Good time to dematerialize it. Oh, I remember working with somebody, and she remembered that she had gone into a business venture years ago, and she had moved from where the business was set up, and she just recalled, there are some things, some payments that are accruable to me, and she just started looking for everything. And she said, where I come from, I've seen the way they treat women when their husbands die. I cannot go through that each time everything I'm working for is for my children. I cannot afford to allow them to suffer. And she started it, so it's not a bad thing. It is a good thing. We actually need it in this day and age. Enough said about writing a will. There are other aspects. You can set up a trust. If you want to talk more about it, call me up one-on-one. First 30 minutes is free. After then, I might charge you a fee. It all depends on who you are. Thank you so much. So, I believe I've been able to at least, shed some light as regards financial planning. Like I said, it is using available resources today to get to a future goal or desired results. And the first rule right now, looking at the situation we're currently in globally, is to look at our current financial position. This is the time to set up an emergency fund. This is the time to look at your spending habits. Where can you save money? Where are you having leaks? This is a good time to sit down with your bank statement. Even if you don't understand, call somebody who is a banker. Come, this thing, what do you mean here? What is this? What is that? Let them explain to you. This is a good time for you to, just make sure that you have enough to sustain you for the next 3, 6, 9, 1 year. Because anything can happen right now from what we can see. I also talked about investment planning. And like I said, before you go at this point in time, this crisis, I'm trying to not use that word, but I have to use it. During this period of crisis, it's a good time to be sure that you have more than enough before you invest. Don't go and take your emergency fund and invest. No, we don't recommend that. What we recommend now is have enough. Maybe what you have left over after you've set up, put money aside for a rainy day and all that, for emergencies and things like that, then you can invest. There's so many mediums of investment. When I was talking about it, I didn't talk about real estate. For Nigeria, real estate is one area that you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong with real estate. Why? Because the value of property is upwards. It might slow. The market might slow. The market might seem quiet. Property today, in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years, next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, the value would have gone up. So you can never go wrong. So aside from doing your traditional banking, I call it traditional banking, savings account, your special savings account, your fixed deposits, your banker's acceptance, your commercial paper, your mutual funds, your bonds, your structured notes, and then also now for those of us who really understand currencies, this is a good time to, if you can get good, do your research first to good places where you can invest in dollar to hedge against inflation that is hitting us so badly right now. You can do that. This is a perfect time to do that. Invest in dollar. Hold it. A time will come when you sell it, and this, those of you that have dollar, I'm jealousing you. Let me use that word. Because now you sell here, making a good premium. Yeah, you have done well. This is a good time. If you can't do it, do it. But like I say, for every investment, ask questions, answer the why, so that you don't, get yourself into problem. And so, like I said, you could do, they call it structured notes. Some organizations call it structured notes. Some call it different things. Banks also have special products towards that line. Ask the questions and make your investments. If you're the one you're interested in real estate, good. Begin to make your down payments if you have extra to do that. But be rest assured that after this period, God's willing, it will end very soon. The opportunities abound, because then they'll be looking for all of us, as in like, come. They'll be searching everywhere. They'll be looking for everybody all around, to come and like do investments and other things like that. Good. We also talked about risk management, risk planning, which I call risk management. We talk about this is a good time to look into not just general insurance, but look into life insurance policies, health insurance. There's so many things you can insure. You find out that some of these celebrities, like footballers, they insure their legs. Like J-Lo insured her leg and I think her bum or something. I know footballers, some of them, their legs are heavily insured. For those of us that are working in institutions, we have life insurance policies. While I was working in the bank, I know each staff had a life insurance policy. So in case of anything, the insurance kicks in. And like I said, please, your insurance is not your vehicle of investment. I always advise people, insurance is to mitigate a loss. So it is money that is held on your behalf. You understand? And if anything happens based on the what the policy says, if that thing occurs, then you get something. You understand? Like I gave the example of the Wimbledon. They've been paying for a pandemic. I'm still wondering, did they know a pandemic was going to come up? Really? They've been paying towards, natural disaster, pandemic and things like that. And they're going to have huge payments, because they haven't had any tournaments, no money is made at all. So this is the time for them to, if the premium has matured, then they get their money, whatever the agreements are on the policy document. And then also I talked about taxation. We need to begin to prepare for that. We need to begin to look into that, especially in Nigeria. Revenues are down. This is one way that the government is going to begin to look into. So we all need to get ready for that. It's part of what we need to plan for with our money. And then I talked about retirement planning. Now is a good time to begin to plan. Now is a very good time to begin to look ahead. When do you want to stop working if you have a 9 to 5? Concerning the business, what do you want to do? Some of us with the businesses want to continue as long as, there's nothing wrong with that. But there will come a time, I remember I had a client then who was rather very worried that his kids were not interested in the business. And he was like, I can't even get them to come to Nigeria. They're all in America. I'm not getting any younger. And he was really complaining that day. And I said, Very simple. Let's set up a foundation. Not for them, but for the grandchildren who were quite young then. And I told him that you would put a clause in that foundation that for each grandchild to access it, there are certain things that the parents will have to do. And I left it there, and I went back and I saw him, after a while, and he brought up, he said, you know what? That suggestion that you gave to me, I have implemented it, and I'm so happy about it. And I was like, oh, really? And he said, yes. And in fact, and as we speak today, his sons are all back in Nigeria, running the business, and he's enjoying himself. He has taken a back seat. His daughter is in America. She's married, so she's still there. But his sons, they're here, running the business. And he's like, yes, this is what I want. You could set up a trust. You could do, so many things. Now I've gone into estate planning, which is housekeeping. So that man he has settled his house. He's alive, so he can remove and add into the foundation, remove and add, into the trust he had set up for them and all that. So we talked about writing your will. If you're interested, give me a call. For those of you that have my number, you can send me a chat or something. Yes, we can do that for you. With less than 100,000, you can get that done. So I hope I've been of immense value and contribution to your Friday evening. I know it's Friday. I appreciate all of you that have, logged on, that have come on board to join this. I really appreciate you. I love you, and I pray that God will bless you. Do have a beautiful night and stay safe. Keep praying. Let's keep washing our hands and enjoy social distancing. Call people you haven't called. Do FaceTime. Do WhatsApp call. Do video calls. Enjoy the time. This is a time for us to breathe. We thank God we are alive. My heart goes out to everyone who has lost someone. We also pray for the medical team. They are the heroes of this era. We pray for each and every one of them, that God will continue to keep them. For those of us who have spouses that are in the medical line, that have children or relations, we pray for all of them that they will be safe. And at the end of this, all of us will come out smiling. Do have a blessed evening. Thank you once again, and I hope to see you again. Bye.